All right, everybody. Good morning. Good Tuesday morning. And we've got a little bit of Seahawks news. I know this is, by this point, a little old. Most people probably are aware of this. And it's not surprising anyway. I don't think anybody really thought we were going to do this, but there was always some degree of possibility here. That it was always on the table. It was always theoretically possible. So getting a little bit of closure here is good, and it seems like the Seahawks have chosen the correct option here. So yesterday, late afternoon, early evening, Jeremy Fowler tweeted out that the Seahawks are not picking up the fifth-year option of linebacker Jordyn Brooks, per source. Talented linebacker will enter a contract year in Seattle and will be recovered from an ACL. So Jordyn Brooks will not be getting that fifth-year option. It's a thing that we have not exercised a whole heck of a lot lately. We used it on Noah Fant. And other than that, it's been dry lately in terms of picking up that fifth-year option, which, I mean, that's a... Fifth-year options are one of the big advantages that teams get when they're negotiating with these coveted players. And the fact that we haven't been able to utilize it in recent years has been very frustrating. The fact that we were only able to use it on a guy we traded for is it's one of the reasons why this front office fell behind a little bit in recent years, I think. You see these other teams exercising fifth-year options on players in lieu of giving them the long-term contract. It buys them an extra year of time, and it buys them an extra year of making a sometimes difficult decision. So hopefully, going forward, we're able to start utilizing it. It looks like we'll be able to. I mean, Charles Cross, so far so good. He may very well be a fifth-year option guy when it all wraps up here in a couple of years. And we'll see about our first rounders this year, but I think both of them have a chance to be very, very, very good players for us. But yeah, no fifth-year option on Jordyn Brooks. Obviously the right decision. Not saying he's a terrible all-around player, but he's very limited in what he can do. His use case is very narrow. And at the end of the day, in the modern NFL, a player like a Jordyn Brooks just isn't as valuable as he used to be. Jordyn Brooks is good against the run. He is. PFF actually was very complimentary of him in those metrics when it came to run defense last year. It's just, what else is he giving you? He's a okay pass rusher, I guess, for the little bit that you use him as one. And he is a complete black hole in coverage. Not the good kind of black hole, by the way. Believe me, I wish he was the literal black hole, but no. Black hole as in you really don't want him out there. So, the fifth-year option would have been something like $12 or $13 million for the 1 year, which would have made him one of the higher-paid linebackers in the league for that 1 year. So, very fortunate that we are evading the need to give him that extra year. Now, this means that this upcoming season for Jordyn Brooks is going to be a contract year. This is the final year of his rookie deal. Once we don't pick up this option, that's going to be the case. Now, here's my question, and this one's a little bit hard to decipher, but what happens if he doesn't play this year at all? What if he misses the whole season because of the injury? Because regardless of what John Schneider has to say, if you do the math and you look at the timetable and you look at John Schneider's own words about the Jordyn Brooks timeline, it would make a lot of sense if he missed the whole season. Schneider already said that Brooks, his timeline was very similar to Radigan's, and Radigan missed basically 12 months. So if Brooks misses 12 months, he's basically going to miss the whole season. If that happens, what goes on with his contract? Does it roll over into 2024? Would his 2023 numbers just roll over into 2024? Because I believe that's what's going to happen with Darrell Taylor, in part because Darrell Taylor didn't play at all his rookie year, which was also 2020 actually. And I believe it would have happened, excuse me, would have happened with Rashad Penny if he didn't play in 3 games at the very tail end of the 2020 season. So if he misses the whole season, I believe, I'm not sure on this, but my understanding is that the 2023 cap hit numbers, which come out to about a cap hit of $9.3 million, would roll over into 2024 and become a restricted free agent year. So we could choose to pick up a effectively $3.9 million option in 2024 for him. If that's true, and I'm not sure yet because this is a little bit confusing, he got hurt on the field playing for the Seahawks, so I don't know if the circumstances change here a little bit. But if next year becomes a restricted free agent year for him, and we can choose to pick up a $3.9 million option, Jordyn Brooks is worth $3.9 million for one season. He's not worth the $12.75 million that it would have cost to pick up the fifth-year option. But if you can actually get him on a less than $4 million cap hit for 2024 after he misses all of 2023, now you're talking. That's actually fair. I mean, Jordyn Brooks does bring a few things to the table, and those things are definitely worth less than $4 million. Now, it's possible that's not the case, and he's just going to become a free agent next year, and he'll go into free agency having not played at all in 2023. I don't see how the Seahawks could make a significant offer to him in that circumstance. He'll, at the end of the day, be coming off an ACL tear, and his greatest attribute before the ACL tear was his speed. Like, he was one of the fastest linebackers in the league, and now he tore his ACL. Like, you're going to want to see him play a little bit. You're going to want to see how he performs in a game. So, if he does become an unrestricted free agent next year, then I kind of see him coming back on a cheap one-year deal to prove that he can play, and then we go from there. So, one way or the other, I'm going to say this. I think Jordyn Brooks will be re-signed by the Seahawks for 2024 one way or the other. And I think it's going to be a cheap one-year deal. If the 2023 numbers roll over to 2024, then it'll be that. If not, then maybe it'll be like a one-year, $4 million deal that basically serves a similar purpose. That would be my guess. Because I don't think Jordyn Brooks is going to get big money coming off an ACL tear when his greatest attribute was speed. But we'll see. All we know is that we're not picking up that fifth-year option on him, which is, hey, great news. It's the right thing to do. Absolutely can't really consider doing anything else, especially after the ACL tear. Now, the other interesting aspect of this is where this leaves us as a team, because this signals that one way or the other, even though I do suspect that Jordyn Brooks may be back in 2024, kind of out of necessity, he's not part of our long-term plans. Maybe he was before he got hurt. We'll never know. But as of right now, it's fair to conclude he's probably not part of our long-term plans, based on the fact that we didn't pick up this option. So it leaves us in a bit of an interesting situation, because if you look at the Seahawks, and this is actually, I think, pretty significant and notable because of how linebacker happy this team has been in the Carroll Schneider era. We've always had some of the best linebackers in the league with Wagner and Wright, and we've always paid more attention to the linebacker position than most teams, with paying Wagner and Wright as much money as we did and spending a first-round pick on Jordyn Brooks. And the year before that, we took two linebackers, Burke Irvin and Barton. But the last 3 years, we have picked exactly 0 linebackers in the draft. 22 picks, 0 linebackers. Now, 2021, we only had 3 picks, so that's whatever. And 2023, I kind of get it because the linebacker class was bad. 2022 was a really good linebacker class. You still didn't take one. Out of all the things the Seahawks have done in the last couple years to address their needs, and they've done a really good job of it, the one area they've kind of glazed over is the linebacker position. And I guess I should say I support it. I think it's a good idea. I do understand that the linebacker position is off-ball linebacker, that is. The inside middle linebackers, the wheel linebacker, those guys, it's becoming less and less valuable because teams are not running the ball as much as they used to, and that position is starting to become filled by just guys. The overriding philosophy has been more about just get guys who are decent at linebacker and then build the rest of the defense so that their job is as easy as possible. I do think that's actually a pretty sensible way of going about things. Like, when you're trying to put together a team, you can't make everything on your team perfect. So you pick a few areas where you decide to skimp out a little bit, and this team has chosen to skimp out. It seems like at linebacker, and just make do with, in our case, we do have the two veterans who, I mean, one guy's proven, the other guy not so much, and then we have a bunch of random guys who may or may not be something, and we have no idea behind them. So this definitely leaves us in a situation where it's clear. I mean, Barton's gone too, by the way. Barton left in free agency this offseason. So even though this team has defensively, I want to be clear about that, very, very defensively neglected stocking up at the linebacker position the last 3 years, they are going to have to do something about it in the very near future. And I think that, excuse me, I think that 2024, the offseason, is going to be about that. And at the risk of already opening up a big can of worms here right after we just finished with the 2023 draft, the 2024 draft looks pretty good for linebacker. This looks more like the 2022 class. On a NFL mock draft database right now, you've got 8 linebackers in the top 100, including the guy who seems to generally be considered to be the top of the class, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., spawn of the Jeremiah Trotter of the most famously Philadelphia Eagles. I remember him very well. So it's always cool to get the son of a famous football player. And after that, you've got a bunch of other guys who are going to be lingering around that second round, third round, probably. And that's got to be a strong consideration going into the next offseason. Hopefully we can survive on what we have for this year, though. Hopefully Wagner and Bush can stay healthy. But doesn't seem like Jordyn Brooks is a long-term part of the plan. Maybe he lingers around for 1 year just because of the circumstance, but no fifth-year option, and it seems like his days are numbered in Seattle. See you guys later. Go Hawks.